All right, shalom. Hopefully, this is working. I have some technical difficulties. All praises to the Most High. Blessings. Um, Praying that you're having a beautiful day. Today is the first day, right? We call Sunday. We worship on Shabbat. That was yesterday. We thank the Most High for the seventh day and the day of rest. Um, so we're gonna get right in. Gonna come out of the story of Ahikar, all right, and just share some proverbs and edification in that particular work. And also, we're going to be coming straight from the KJV and the Tanakh. So, hopefully, this is a blessing. And, you know, Yeshaya, right, the Son of God, said, I came not to bring peace on earth, but a sword, and to set a man at variance against his father-in-law, mother-in-law, the mother-in-law against his daughter-in-law, you know, son against the father, and the daughter against the mother. We're going to have that. And the man's enemy will be foes will be of his own household. So why? Because of the truth and what you believe about the Most High and what you believe about Christ. All right. You know, the vaccinated versus unvaccinated, Republican versus Democrat. Yeah, all the scripture is true. Nation will rise against nation. People versus people, country versus country. You're going to see all these things. Rumors of war, earthquakes in diverse places. All right. You're going to see all the things that the prophets designed to see. And blessed are your eyes and your ears. And you're going to hear the truth. You're going to see the truth. All right. So we're going to start off with Proverbs 22 and 6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. Train up. All right. Guide. Lead a child in the way, the path, the direction he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. So as he gets older, he will not leave it. It's going to be deep down ingrained in him, his soul, his spirit, his mind, his heart. All right. All right. So that's what you want to do. And that means giving him the word of the Most High. Right? Teaching him the word or her the word. So again, it says, train up a child. Um, and I don't know if this is a Greek word, but it says chatatize, and that's spelled Catechizeze. You look that word up, it means to investigate or question. So you need to investigate and question your child about what you're teaching him and what you're training him up in, right? You know, and they should answer you, right? Or they should be able to give you an answer of what you taught them, right? And it should be the word of the Most High. So again, train up a child or investigate, question your child in the way that he should go. And you're going to guide him and direct him. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Now, that part, they do stray away and get off course. You got to guide them back on course. You don't personally, well, you should, but the Holy Spirit, the Ruach in Christ, the Most High, they're going to put them back on course with his angels because you're going to be praying. But when you're a child and youth, you're going to do some things. You're going to err. You're going to make some mistakes. And even adults make mistakes, right? We all do. But, and you know, the atheists will say, well, yeah, you said they never depart. Why are they departing? Right? And going after the things of the heathen, right, and not keeping his laws and all those things, right? Prophecy for one, and for one, um, us, adults or children, leading leaning on to our own understanding. But the scripture says we need to lead on the Most High and acknowledge Him in all our ways, right? And fear the Most High Elohim, Ahaya, or Yahuwah, all right? Fear the Most High, the Ancient of Days. All right, so train up your child in the way it should go, all right? Question him or her. Investigate him or her, all right? You should be asking them who the Most High is. They're going to say, if they're children in the faith, they're going to say Ahaya. They're going to say Yah. They're going to say Yahuwah. What is his son name? Yahushua, Yeshaya, Yasha, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yehoshua, Joshua. Okay, those are the names that they're going to be saying, right? And the scripture says you're not going to enter into the kingdom if you don't come with the faith as a little child, right? Um, script, and we say, right, spoil the child, spare the rod, right? And we can't do that. We got to give them the rod. And we're going to go through precepts and all of that about training our children in the way that they should go, right? Which way should they go? All right, so let's look at some things real quick. Give me one moment. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. All right, train up a child in the way he should go. All children, stepchildren, children that you meet, train them up in the way they should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. All right. Okay, so when you training up a child in the way it should go, it should be like this that you see, right? They're saying their prayers every night before bed, all right, or before they eat, after they eat, right? That's part of training up a child, right? What they're hearing, what they're seeing from you, right? So, all right, you got to be the right example. You got to be the light. So this is the right way you should train up a child in the way it should go. This is the wrong way. Can you see that? It says stand with LGBTQ families, proud to be happy. That's ridiculous. Right? You're supposed to train them up this way? Huh? You're supposed to train them up that way? No. How about this? You're supposed to train them up with this crap right here? Huh? Oh, my bad. That's not what we should be training them up. I have to go that way, right? I have to go this way, right? This weirdo stuff right here. That's not the way that they should go, right? Okay. Yeah. But we should be showing them this way, right? was in Proverbs, right? So we're gonna go to scripture. Um, Scripture says, let me pull this down. So, okay. Okay, Israel. Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, the book of Sirach. Uh, we're going to read 32, verse 22. And it says, and beware of thy own children. So I'm going to read 21. It says, be not confident in a plain way, and beware of thy own children. You have to be careful of your own children. And that's what we're going to talk about. But I'm going to read 23 and 24. And it says, in every good work, trust your own soul, for this is the keeping of the commandments. You can go to Romans 14 and 5. 24. He that believeth in the Most High taketh heed to the commandments. He that believeth the Most High taketh heed to the what? To the commandments, to the law. And he that trusteth in him, the Most High, shall not be hurt. And it says, shall never fare the worse. All right. When you trust the Most High, you're never gonna fare the worse. All right. So it's a good work, right, to train up a child in a way it should go. All right. So again, uh, beware of thy own children, and that's what we're gonna be talking about. All right. Parricide. Parricide refers to the deliberate killing of one's own father and mother, spouse, husband or wife, children, or close relative. All right. It says, why do kids kill their parents? You know, some kids kill their parents for video games, over video games. All right. I'm just going to images real quick. All right. Kids who kill their parents. There's kids that kill their parents, Israel. Mm-hmm. And there's parents that kill their kids. Mm-hmm. Killer kids in the last days. Kids that get mad at their parents and all kind of stuff. Um, this might be slow, but hey, I'm trying to show you something. This girl poisoned her daddy. Uh, okay. Let me try to get some news. Let's see. Quick video. True crime cases. Kids who kill parents. What made them snap? A beating. College children. Why do kids kill their parents? Hmm. Says here, in 2020, a 15-year-old girl and four of her friends were arrested in the Free State this week for murdering the teenager's mother and stepfather. Mm-hmm. And 7 kids convicted of killing their parents. Right. quick news real quick. So again, this is in the book of Sirach 32 and 22. Beware of thine own children. That's what the book says. All right. It says 2 weeks ago, after the death of a 10-year-old allegedly at the hands of her mother in East Oakland on Monday, many in the community are wondering what. Says you had better be careful in your bed tonight. Shock rise in women killed by their sons. January 15th, 2023. Um, everything to know about the mom who murdered her 2 kids. A mother charged with killing her children. Um, this is showing the opposite, but you got the children killing their parents and parents killing their children. You got all kind of stuff that goes on in this wicked world. And so I just wanted to share that, beware of your children. Oh, wait a minute. It's not sharing? Or it is sharing? I can't see. Oh, it wasn't sharing. Well, let me go back, man. Let me go back. Go back, right? So again, I said parricide refers to the deliberate killing of one's father and mother, spouse, husband, or wife, children, a close relative. All right. Some things you can look at. I thought I had it up. And, kids who kill their parents. Right. Click on see if this is correct. Children of the corn. Yeah, you got wild kids that kill their parents. You got things that go on. Even on YouTube, spying, chilling killer kids. Right? And I know you guys be watching that true crimes and investigations and all that crazy stuff. So I'm gonna move on. And there's a lot of these movies that be putting thoughts and things in our brain and our mind. Ever seen this movie? Let me put this down first. Ever seen this movie? The Good Son? He wasn't no damn good son. He was something else. He was trying to kill his brother. Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. But let's go on and get back to the topic. Yeah, get to the topic. All right. So we got Second Ezra second Ezra real quick. The scripture said, "Children are oppressors, and women rule over." So that's what the society is telling us. Second Ezra 5. Second Ezra 5 and verse 8. There shall be confusion also in many places, and the fire shall often be sent out again, and the wild beast animals shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters, wicked children. All right, all right. Like in this movie, it's a depiction. Right? But I'm just sharing that. So if we don't correct and deal with our children, we will first little monsters, LGBT monsters and all. Right? Um, so let's get these scriptures. Let's get John real quick. Get John real quick. Hold on. John, I think 5. John 5. John 5 and 19. And then answered Yeshua. Right? Right? Then answered Yeshua, of Jesus, and said unto them, Truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. What he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, the Father does, these also doeth the Son the same, but likewise. All right. So if the Son is seeing love and joy and happiness and peace and mercy and grace and reading the scriptures and all of that, it's all good, right? The Son will do what the Father does, right? So, right? But what Father are you portraying and showing to be? Loving a caring Father or some thug or criminal, right? Right? You gotta train up a child in the way it should go, right? Which way do you want him to go? Do you want him to go this way or this way, the right way, or this way, the wrong way? Alright, so I'm gonna read it again. It says, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. Right? So the Father should be showing this type of love, not this type of love, right? Not that, not that. Okay? So, um, okay. So um, let's get Ezekiel. Well, I'll just say it right now. As the proverb, they're going to use this proverb of verse 2, right? As the mother is, so is the daughter. All right, so we want to see daughters loving their moms, caring for their moms, protecting their moms, right? Hugging their moms, helping their moms, not this, right? Not uh, fighting with their moms, arguing with their moms, cursing out their moms. You gotta train them up the right way. Get this small. Train them up the right way. All right? So training up the right way uh, takes discipline, right? Okay, so let's get those scriptures. Before I get those scriptures, let's get this. Let's get this. What is this? Hmm? Two genders, right? Two genders. Most High only created two genders, right? That's right, right? You get that. And Genesis 1:27. So the Most High created man in his own image, and in the image of the Most High created he him, male and female created he them. All right? There's only two genders. Only two genders. All right? And this is lovely right here. It says, I'm here to remind you, Transformers, there's only two genders. Oh, yes. And a whole lot of mental illness. That's right. All praises to the Most High. Mhm. All right. So let's let me get that. There we go. All right. All right. So Proverbs, sorry y'all, 22:6 is train up a child. So now we're going to 23. Proverbs 23:13. It says, my son, eat thou honey, beef, because it is good, and the honeycomb, which is sweet to thy taste. I'm sorry, I'm in 24. 23 and I said 13. It says, withhold not correction from the child. Mhm. For if you beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. So you gotta beat him so he will not die. He shall beat him with the rod and shall deliver his soul from hell. All right? And we ain't talking about abuse and being evil and wicked. No, we're talking about you gotta chastise your son, all right, or daughter, all right, just like the Most High. He chastises the ones he loves. So it says again, don't withhold, don't hold back your correction from the child. For if you beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. You shall beat him with the rod, and shall save or deliver free his soul from hell. All right? He shall free his soul from hell. All right? And he won't think about killing you and killing other people and shooting up the schools and all that other crazy, wicked, evil stuff. All right? So, as the father is, so is the son. As the mother is, so is the daughter. It's about what salt are you showing. If you're the salt of the earth, your kids are watching you like a tape recorder. What are you showing them? What are they seeing in their portals, their ear holes, seeing out of their eye portals, putting in their mouth, right? Okay. Um, so now let's get Malachi. All right, get Malachi. All right, and it says, "He will store the hearts of the fathers to the children." That's Malachi 4:6. All right, let me, let me get there. I just pulled it up. And that's where our mindset should be, restoring the children back to the father and mother, and back to the father. Right, right. The Most High, over the head of Christ is the Most High. Over the head of the man is Christ, the Most High. So you got the Most High, Christ, the man, the women, the children. You got to be in order. All right. So 4 and 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Most High, and he shall turn the heart, the spirit of the fathers to the children, the babes, and the heart of the children, the babes, to their fathers, their abbas, if I come and strike the earth with a curse, because they're being so wicked and prideful, right? Mm-hmm. All right. And they think that God does not hear, that there's no God. He hasn't acted, but he acted on Sodom and Gomorrah. And so sooner or later it's going to rain fire for what these people are trying to do with these children and what they're training up these children in. All right. All right. So you stand with this, you're going to get burnt to a crisp. All praises to the Most High. Bless his holy name. He's going to turn your wicked tail to ashes. This stuff here. To ashes is going to be to ashes. To ashes. Oh, yes. But if you're teaching your son to be a man, right, and being in order and trusting the Most High and understanding his word and knowing that there's two genders and loving the mom, it's going to be all good. You don't be burnt up like them, right? Teach them and train them up in the way that they should go. This is the way that they should go. Bending their knees and praying to the Most High, right? So, okay. Now, Uh, Now we're gonna jump into the story of Ahikar. Oh no, there's still some few little precepts. Hold on. Hold on. This is still a few precepts. Um, 30. In Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 30, um, uh, 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 and 8. Let's see. Let me go to 1. 30 and 1. He that loveth his son causes him often to feel the rod. If you love your son, your daughter, your children, you're gonna often make them feel the rod. They can get a pow pow. That he may have joy of him in the end. That you may have joy of him in the end. Or you're not gonna have joy of him or her, and they're gonna end up being killers, right? Or kill you. It said, he that chastises his son or daughter shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his uh, family, friends, acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. If you teach your son, you're going to grieve the enemy. You're going to grieve the LGBT community and all communities that are against the Most High. And before his friends he shall laugh and rejoice of him. Have joy. You're going to have joy of your children. Though his father die, still he is as though he were not dead, for he have left one behind him that is like himself, right? Or her that's like her mother. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. All right, you're going to spoil them to death. And a horse not broken becometh headstrong. A horse not beaten becometh headstrong, strong-willed. And a child left to himself will be willful. All right, it says, conquer your child, play with him, and he shall make you afraid. Go in time out. All right, no, you're my friend. No, you're not my friend. Says, conquer your child, and he shall make you afraid. Play with him, and he will bring you to heaviness. All right, he's going to make you embarrassed, sad, depressed. Laugh not with him, your child. If you have sorrow with him, you're going to be sad. And if you gnash your teeth in the end, give him no freedom. Don't give him freedom, liberty in his youth or hurt youth. And weep and laugh not at his follies, his stupidity. It's not a joke. It's not a game for him to be cursing and carrying on and disrespecting the elders. Bow down his neck or her neck while she or he is young, and beat him. Beat him on the sides while he is a child. If he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto you, and so bring sorrow to your heart. All right? You don't want to have sorrow to your heart, you're going to bring forth that rod. All right? And so he can be guided and stay on course, on the path, on the direction. All right? Gotta give him the pow pow, not the talk talk. Gotta give him the action. Mm-hmm. Um, and then, then you got Proverbs 13 and 24. All right, let's get that. I don't even think he went there. Proverbs 13, 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son. All right, the Creator didn't spare the rod against Yeshaya, right? But he that loveth him, chasten him early, corrects him early, right? So again, he that spareth his rod, don't beat his son or daughter, hateth his son or daughter. But he that loveth him, son or daughter, chastise, discipline him early, not later, early. Because if you do it later, guess what's going to happen? He going to kill you, poison you, do whatever he got to do to get rid of you, to get your possessions. Because you done spoiled them to death. Right? Um, so yeah, it's important to correct your children, get them in order, right? Or you're going to have to get them in order. You might have to do something that you didn't even expect doing. Or on accident because you're in the spirit of anger. And the spirit of anger makes you want to destroy things, hurt things on accident. You didn't kill your child because you got so mad. And if you've been disciplined, you know how to discipline without getting too mad and angry. Right? But the nations don't want you to spank your children. They want them wild and evil. They want the demon on them. You got to beat that demon out of them sometimes. Right? You know what the law says. About the children. There's a blessing and curses, and also it says that you must honor your mother and father and all those good things, right? And if you don't do that, you have a short life. Why do you think these children are getting killed early? Getting destroyed, right? Let me go to the wisdom of Solomon. I'm just thinking right now. These are extra things. Let me get it. If I can find it, God. Lord. Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 3 says the wicked are not, nor their children. I think it's in like 10. Let's see. Yeah. It says, but the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations, their thoughts, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Most High. For whoso despises wisdom and care, he is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. Their wives are foolish, and their children are wicked. Their offspring is cursed, their children. Wherefore blessed is the barren that is undefiled, which have not known the sinful bed. She shall have fruit in the visitation of souls. And blessed is the eunuch, which with his hands have done no iniquity, sin, nor imagine wicked things against the Most High. For unto him shall be given the special gift of faith and an inheritance in the temple of the Most High, more acceptable to his mind. For glorious is the fruit of good works. The root of wisdom shall never fall away. As for the children of adulterers, they shall not come to their perfection. They should not be partakers of holy things. And the seed, the children of an unrighteous bed, shall be rooted out. For though they live long, still they shall be nothing regarded, not even cared about. And their last age shall be without honor, without respect. Or if they die quickly, they have no hope, neither comfort in the day of trial, the day of the hearing, all right, the judgment. For horrible is the end of the unrighteous generation, all right. It's very horrible, all right. on this side and on the other side. AIDS. It's horrible. All right. Your underwear. All right. So we'll get Tobit. I think it's in verse 4. Let's see. In 13 it says, Now therefore, my son, love thy brethren, your brothers, and despise not in your heart your brethren, the sons and daughters of your people, in not taking a wife of them, for in pride is destruction and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay and great need. For lewdness, nakedness is the mother of famine. All right. For in not taking a wife of them, you don't want to take a wife of them. Foreign women. That means a strange woman. What does that mean? It's not just talking about other nations, it's talking about the wicked. All right. The wicked woman of them that don't believe in the Most High power. All right. So, actually, I was supposed to get 12. It says, Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of your father. Number one. But if you didn't, there was war brides and you took from all nations. But don't let them cause you to sin, to commit idolatry like Solomon. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly highly take a wife of the seed, the sperma of your fathers, the lineage. And take not a strange woman. What is a strange woman? A foreign woman. A woman that don't believe in the Most High. A wife, which is not of your father's tribe also. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, Bereshit, even that they all married wives of their own kindred families, and were blessed in their children, and their children shall receive the land. So inherit the land. All right. So that's what we want to do. But the land is polluted because the children are not being trained up in the way that they should go. All right. They're following the rainbow. And I'm not talking about the Most High's rainbow. All right. I'm talking about something else. All right. And you got to train them up to follow the covenant and his law, statutes, commandments, and his statutes, and his holy days, not holidays, and his Sabbath, his rest, and his love, and his mercy, his rainbow, that he wouldn't flood the world. But this time, it's going to be by fire. For who? Right? Those that don't want to obey his voice. He said, I like obedience rather than sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Who gave you that covenant, said in Jeremiah, to sacrifice your children to Moloch? I didn't require it. I don't require that. Not that. And you can't give me enough. That's what the Most High said. You give me 1,000 of this and all of that. The whole world and the earth is mine, all spirits. That's why they call me the Lord of Spirits. All right? And he is a God of war. All right? And he is not lying. All right? So, I'm gonna go read this information that I want to precept it with the scripts, but we can see how long it's going to be. All right? So, the story in the Proverbs of Ahikar. All right, let me get that. chapter 1. Um, I'm gonna read some of chapter 1. It says, Ahikar, a grand vizier of Assyria, has 60 wives, but is fated to have no son. Therefore, he adopts his nephew. This is where your stepchildren come in. He crams him full of wisdom and knowledge, more than of bread and water. All right. So I'm gonna read that, and I'm coming out of 2 books, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. All right. So it says here, it says, again, by the divine power I write the proverbs to which the story of Ahikar, the sage, and secretary of Sennacherib, the king of Assyria and Nineveh. In the 20th year of Sennacherib, son of Sardon, king of Assyria and Nineveh, I, Ahikar, was the king's secretary. And it had been said to me when I was a boy that no son will be born to you. All right? And the wealth that I had acquired was too vast to tell. 60 wives had I wedded, and 60 castles did I build them, and I had no son. Mm. So I'm telling you right here, be careful what you ask for. Ahikar built me a great altar. I said, thereupon Ahikar, I built me a great altar, all of wood, and kindled fire upon it, and laid good meat thereon. And then I spake, O Lord, my power, when I shall die and leave no son, what will men say of me? They will say that this then is Ahikar, the just and good and God serving. He is dead and has left no son to bury him, nor a daughter, and his possessions, as if he were accursed. No man inherits, but I ask of you, O Most High, that I may have a male child, so that when I shall die, he may cast dust on my eyes. All right, that's what he asked for. All right, so I'm gonna read it. Um, I read that verse uh, 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 in the Arabic version. It says, and he returned and asked the Most High God. See, he asked our power and believed, asking him with a burning in his heart, saying, O Most High God, O Creator of the heavens and of the earth, O Creator of all things, I ask you to give me a boy, that I may be consoled by him, comforted, that he may be present at my death, that he may close my eyes, and that he may bury me. That's what he asked for. Okay. I'm sorry. And this voice was heard by me, Ahikar, was wise scribe. All that you have asked of me, I've given you. But as to my having left you childless, let it suffice you. Let it satisfy you. Be enough. Perplex not yourself. Don't confuse yourself. But behold, but look, Nadin, your sister's son, he shall be a son unto you, so that with the growth of his stature you shall be able to teach him everything. All right. So he took his sister's son, and he became his son. All right. So I'm just I'm just sharing you some of the parts of the let's say the story, right? All right. So let's continue. How's that? Okay, okay. It says, thereupon he took Nadin his sister's son, who was a little suckling, a baby, and he handed him over to 8 wet nurses, that they might suckle him and bring him up. Now, right? because he wanted the boy. Let me I'm sorry y'all, this is gonna be hard, but what was that? Like 4, let me see, 13. So let me get me hold on. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, and thereupon he took Nadab his sister's son, who was a little suckling, and he handed him over to 8 wet nurses that they might suckle him and bring him up. And they brought him up with good food and gentle training and silken clothing and purple and crimson. And he was seated upon couches of silk. And when Nadab grew big, he walked shooting up like a tall cedar, and he taught him good manners, behavior, and writing and science and philosophy. All right. All right. Mm-hmm. And it says, and I brought up my son on honey and made him lie on choice carpets. He gave him everything and clothed him in fine linen and purple. And my son grew and shot up like a cedar. And when my son was grown big, I taught him book lore and wisdom. And when the king came from the palace to which he had gone, he called me and said to me, O Ahikar, the wise scribe and master of my thoughts, when you wax old and die, who is there to come after you to serve me like yourself? Right? He wants his son to do it. And I answered and said to him, O my lord, the king live forever. I have my son, wise like myself, and book learned like myself, and educated. And the king said to me, bring him and let me see him. If he is able to stand before me, I will release you in peace, and you shall spend your old age in honor until you shall end your days. Then I took my son Nathan and set him before the king. And when my lord, the master, the king saw him, he said, this day shall be a blessed day before God. So that like as Ahikar walked before my father, whoever assured him, and before me also he shall be rewarded. And I will set his son in my gate in his lifetime, and he shall depart in his life in peace. Thereupon Ahikar bowed down before the king and said, my lord, the king live forever, and like as I walked before you, your father, and before yourself, even until now, so do you also extend your forbearance to the youthfulness of my son, that thy grace which was toward me may be found multiplied towards him. Then when the king heard this, he gave me his right hand, as promised, and I, Ahikar, bowed before the king. Nor did I cease from the instruction of my son until I had filled him with the instructions as with bread and water. And on this wise I was discoursing to him. So he brought him up, and he taught him um, everything. Okay. Um, okay. He brought him up. Okay. So let me see. Let's see. Um, and he took Nathan his sister's son with him and seated him in a parlor and set about teaching him night and day till he crammed him with wisdom and knowledge more than with bread and water. All right. So that's the end of chapter 1. All right. So chapter 2, I'm gonna read the summary. It says, chapter 2, a poor Richard's almanac of ancient days, immortal precepts of human conduct concerning money, women, dress, business, friends. Especially interesting proverbs are found in certain verses with some of the cynicism of today. So I'm gonna read some of the proverbs, um, the wisdom of the proverbs. When you get a chance, read this whole story. All right, but I just wanted to share a few things. So we're in chapter 2, verse 23, the story of Ahikar. All right. It says, "O my son, spare not to beat thy son." Do what? It says, "O my son, spare not to beat thy son, for the drubbing of thy son is like the manure to the garden, and like tying the mouth of a purse, and like the tethering of beasts, and like the bottling of the bolting of the door." All right. So this is a precept on disciplining your son. All right. And you can connect them with the precepts that I gave you earlier. All right. We could have went straight to them, but there's a lot that I want to hit in here. All right. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna put this all together. Um, 23. It says, "My son, subdue thy son while he is still a boy." All right. So that's chapter 2, verse 23, but this is in the Syriac or Slavonic version. It says, "My son, subdue." That means take hold of your son while he is still a boy, young, or daughter, for he or she wax stronger than you and rebel against thee, and you be ashamed in all his corrupt doing, in all his wicked doing. All right. Okay. That's just one. Uh, and 22 it says, "My son, withhold not your son from stripes, from beating, for the beating of a boy or a girl is like a manure to the garden." It's like manure to a garden, and like rope to an ass or any other beast, and like a tether on the foot of an ass. Right? 23 in the Arabic version. "O my son, spare not to beat thy son, for the drubbing, the beating of your son is like manure to the garden." It's just going to help it grow. "And like tying the mouth of a purse, and like the tethering of a beast, and like the bottling of the door." All right. I'm going to read it again. "Son, spare not the rod to your son, for the rod is to children as to dung in the garden to help grow, and as the tie and seal fastening the packet, and as the tether on the feet of the ass, the donkey. So is the rod profitable to the child." It's profitable to the children. "For if you strike him with a rod once or twice, he is rendered clever. He's smart. Quietly he does not die. Once or twice he is quieted, but does not die." All right. That's how it's rendered. "But if you leave him to his own will, he becomes a thief, and they take him to the gallows," right? To the court, the government, "and to death, prison, and to a death sentence. And he becomes unto you a reproach and breaking of heart." Makes you sad. All right. It's sad. Okay. All right. Um, okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go back, right? I'm gonna read 24 too. Let's see. It says, "My son, restrain your sons from wickedness, and teach him manners, behavior, before he rebels against you and brings you into contempt amongst the people. And you hang your head in the streets and the assemblies, the churches, and you be punished for the evil of his wicked doing." See? See? Hmm? What y'all think about that? All right. Bring it out some more. Uh, uh, Hold on, let me find it. Mm. You gotta watch out for them sons and daughters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to. You gotta get these children. All right. So so it says in verse 26, "O my son, let not your parents curse you, and the Lord be pleased with them. For it hath been said, He who hates his father or his mother, let him die the death. I mean the death of sin. And he who honoreth his parents shall prolong his days and his life, and shall see all that is good." That's in the scriptures, right? That's in the law, right? I'm going to read it again. Um, Son, love the Father who begat you. This is the Armenian version. "And earn not the curses of your father and mother, to the end that you mayest rejoice in the prosperity of the success of your own sons." It even matters for the success of your grandchildren, your own sons and daughters. All right? All right? This stuff matters, you guys. This stuff matters. I'm trying to hit all of them the right way. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I hit them all. All right. And so I wrote down here chapter 2, verse 23 and 24 and 26. All right. And 27 is good, and I'm going to do a video on 27. Um, and I'll give you that now because it's important that we understand it. Well, no, let me finish this. It says, "Son, train your son in hunger." You got to train your son in hunger, fasting, right, and thirst, in order that in humility he may lead his life, right? Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just got 6:15, 16. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Just checking it. I'm just checking, making sure. Getting all of this. So these are this is some of the education that he was giving his nephew. That's supposed to be his son now, or his stepchildren and all of that. Like I said, it says beware of your children, and we're gonna find out why I'm saying you need to beware of them. A few other precepts. Mhm. So, yeah, all right. So let's go to chapter 3. All right. So 1, and we went to 3. All right. So 3, I'm not going to go through all the proverbs. If you want to check them out. It says Ahikar retired from active participation in affairs of the state because he was a secretary to the king. He is the amazing story of how a thankless, prolific turns forager. A clever plot to entangle Ahikar results in his being condemned to death. Apparently, the end of Ahikar. All right, so I'm gonna read 3. All right, I'm gonna read 3. Before I read 3, I'm just gonna read a few of these precepts. All right, chapter 2. Um, I'm gonna read 7, chapter 2, 7 and 8. All right, because our sons and our daughters need this. 2, 7 and 8. All right. It says here, it says, my son, lift not up thy eyes and look upon a woman that is begazed and painted. That means that she has her makeup on, her face on, right? And do not lust after her in your heart, your mind. For if you should give her all that is in thy hand, your power, you findeth no advantage in her, and you will be guilty of sin against God. So you don't want to do that, right? Um, then it says in 6, my son, commit not adultery with the wife of thy neighbor, if others should commit adultery with thy wife, right? All right. So it says, my son, lift not up thine eyes and look upon a woman bedazing. That means that puts on makeup, witchcraft, and beautified lust, not after her in your heart, in your mind. For if you should give her all um, that thou hast advantage in her, you will not find. In her, you will not find, and you will be guilty of sin before God. My son, stand not in the house of those that are at strife, that are fighting, right? Because from a word there comes a quarrel, a fight, and from a quarrel, a fight, is stirred up a vexation. All right, the notice says vexation, and from vexedness springs murder, right? A plot to kill, or they take their anger. It's the anger that leads to kill, because anger leads to murder. All right, so you gotta watch that. Watch out for that. When you're at some female's house, some male's house, ladies. All right, it says, my son, covet not afterward beauty, for it wanes, it grows old, and passes away, it dies. but an honorable remembrance lasts forever. O my son, let not a silly woman deceive you with her speech, with the way she talks. If you die the most miserable of deaths, and she entangle you in the net, the trap, till you are ensnared to your trap in prison. O my son, desire not a woman bedizened with dress and with ointments, right? Smell good things, perfume, who is despicable and silly in her soul. Woe to you if you bestow on her anything that is yours, or commit to her what is in your power, your hand, and she entice you, she fools you into sin, and the Most High be angry with you. All right. So it says, son, rise not up thine eyes to look on a lovely woman. And this is the same thing for a woman, or a good-looking man. Drug and atonement, you know, perfume or luxury. It says, desire her not in your heart, your mind, for if you should give her all your riches, you does get nothing the more out of her, but are condemned by the Most High and by mankind. For she is like unto a tomb, which is fairest, beautiful on the upper side, the outside, and below, inside, is full of rottenness and bones of the dead. Right? That's scripture. Right? You gotta be careful out there. Right? I thought I would share some of them good precepts with you here. Right? So that was chapter 2, uh, verses 7, 8, and 9. Right? And, uh, and I'm going to share 27 in the Syriac version, the Arabic version, and the Armenian version. Right? It says, my son, walk not in the way. Walk not in what way? In the way, unarmed, because you know if not when the enemy shall come upon you. You got to be prayed up. You got to have your sword, physical or your spiritual sword, right? You have both, all right? Like I had it to not with me. I had it, the other thing with me, all right? Open carry, all right? Oh, my son, walk not on the road without weapons, for you know if not when that foe may meet you, so that you may be ready for him. All right, be ready. Son, without a weapon, go not on a journey by night, if the enemy meet you and you be destroyed. So, like Pastor Dow and others say, keep you something with you. Keep your modern day sword with you. All right. So you could precept that, and I'm going to in another video. But anyway, uh, I thought I would share that. That was some good information there. All right. Proverb 39. There's different versions you can read, but I'm going to read this one. It says, "O my son, make trial of your son. Test your son and of your servant before you commit your belongings to them. Before you give them all your possessions, test them, if they make away with them. For he who have a full hand is called wise, smart, even if he be stupid and ignorant. And he who have an empty hand is called poor and ignorant, even if he be the prince of sages, wise men." Okay? And then I'm going to read this too. It says, "Son or daughter, children and possessions are bestowed, are given by God. Mhm. The rich man is made poor, and the poor man is enriched. The humble is exalted, lifted up, and the exalted, lifted up is Lord, humble." All right. That would be verse 35 in Armenian. Um, hmm, okay. Uh, okay. Okay, so let me see. What else I got? I said 39, I said 41. Uh, and then, okay. It says, "O my son, teach your son for frugality and hunger, that he may do well in the management of his household. O my son, teach thy son frug- frug- frugality and hunger, that he may do well in the managing of his household." Hmm, that's what's up. These are important. 61 says, "My son, let the wise man beat you with a rod. Let a wise man beat you with a rod, discipline. But let not the fool anoint you with sweet salve." That's what's going on in these churches. Smooth things, itching ears. You want him to anoint you, and he ain't disciplining you for you to keep the Most High's law, statutes, commandments. But anyway, I'm gonna read it again. "O my son, let the wise man beat you with a rod, but let not the fool anoint you with sweet salve. Be humble in your youth, when you're young, and young lady, young woman, and you shall be honored in thine old age. Be humble in your youth while you're young, and you will be respected in thy old age." Hmm, that's right. Hmm. Let me see 61 in the other versions. That's kind of uh, this this one's kind of cool. Uh, let's see. Let me see. See. Well, I can't find it. But that's a good one. I would like to see the alternative saying on that one. Okay. Okay. And then it says 63. It says 63. All right. 63. It says, "Oh my son, be not hasty in the wedding of a wife, for if it turns out well, she will say, My Lord, make provision for me, buy me this, buy me that, take care of me. And if it turns out ill, she will rate at him who was the cause of it." Hmm. 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 That's an interesting one. It says, "Son, test thy son in hunger and thirst, and if he is able to bear it, then give your riches unto his hands." See, that's where the other one is at. That's 66 in the Armenian. See, I'm looking for those. See, 68, it says, "My son, have no part in the espousal, the engaging of a woman. For if it shall go ill wrong with her, she will curse you." She's going to curse you. "And if it shall go well with her, she will not remember you." Mm, 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 mm. Interesting. Mm, mm, mm. And then it says here, in 55, in the Slavonic, "My son, tarry not where there is contention." Don't delay. Don't get out of there fast. It says, "My son or daughter, tarry not where there is contention." There's strife. "For from strife arises murder." See, from anger it leads to murder. That's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 54. "O my son, let not a word issue from your mouth till you have taken counsel with your heart. And stand not between persons fighting, because from a bad word there comes a fight, And from a quarrel, fight, there comes war. And from war, there comes fighting. And you will be forced to bear witness, but run from there and rest yourself. Get away from there and rest yourself. Hmm, that's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. And, oh, my son, beauty fades, but learning lasts. And the world wanes, grows old, and becomes vain. But a good name neither becomes vain or wanes. Mhm. The son, commit not adultery with your friend's wife, if God be angry, and others commit adultery with your wife. Son, take not a widow to wife, for whenever there is any word between you, she will say, Ah, for alas, for my first husband, and you are distressed. Mm. We'll keep bringing up him, what he was doing, how he's doing. Uh, yeah, but yeah, I was just bringing out some of his precepts, and some of the precepts is great, and they go along with the scripture. All right. 71. Son, love thy flesh, your body, and your wife, for she is thyself and the companion of your life. And even by extreme labor, she natures your takes care of your son, cares for your son, mhm, or your daughter. Son. And here, 74, it says, Son, reveal not your secret advice to thy wife, counsel to your wife, for she is weak and small of soul, and she reveals, she shows it to the powerful, and you are despised, then you be hated. And the scriptures deal with that too, right? And what, you know, right. So those are some of the precepts. I have 58 written down. I don't know if I read 58 real quick. Check that out. Mm, right on. Mm, 58, 58. Says, my son, go not down into the prince's gardens and draw not near to prince's daughters. Oh man, that's the one that I was looking for, man. 58. Oh, so yeah, that's it. Set like a light. But look, let's continue. Let's continue. Okay. 3. Let's go to 3. Let's read it. 3. It says, Now spake Ahikar, and when he had finished these injunctions and proverbs to Nathan, his sister's son, he imagined that he would keep them all, and he knew not that instead of that he was displaying to him weariness, tired, and contempt and mockery. He didn't like the teaching. Therefore, thereafter, Ahikar sat still in his house and delivered over to Nathan all his goods and the slaves and the handmaids and the horses and the cattle, everything else that he had possessed and gained. And the power of bidding and of forbidding remained in the hand of Nadab. Ahikar sat at rest in his house, and every now and then Ahikar went and paid his respects to the king and returned home. Now when Nadab perceived that the power of bidding and forbidding was in his own hand, power, he hated the position of Ahikar and scoffed at him, and set about blaming him. This is his son. Whenever he appeared, saying, "My uncle Ahikar is in his dotage, and he knows nothing now. He's in his old age, he don't know nothing." And he began to beat the slaves and the handmaids, and to sell the horses and the camels, and be spendthrift with all that his uncle Ahikar had owned. And when Ahikar saw that he had no compassion on his servants nor on his household, he got up and chased him from his house, and sent to inform the king that he had scattered his possessions and his provisions. So right there, I'm just gonna stop. No, I'm gonna continue because we're gonna go to Matthew and the other things, and show you, see how he was mistreating. It compares to what was going on in Matthew and Luke. All right. Now, um, and the king arose and called Nathan and said to him, "While Ahikar remains in health, no one shall rule over his goods, nor over his household, nor over his possessions." And the hand of Nathan was lifted off from his uncle Ahikar and from all his goods. And in the meantime, he went neither in or out, nor did he greet him anymore. See, this is what happens with these spoiled sons and daughters and nephews. Thereupon Ahikar repented him of his toil with Nadab, his sister's son, and he continued to be very sorrowful. Nadab had a younger brother named Zardan, so Ahikar took him to himself in a place of Nadab and brought him up and honored him with the utmost honor, and he delivered over to him all that he possessed and made him governor of his house. Now when Nadab perceived what had happened, he was taken with envy and jealousy, and he began to complain to everyone who questioned him, and took mock. He laughed at his uncle Ahikar, saying, "My uncle has chased me from his house, and has preferred my brother to me. But if the Most High God give me the power, I shall bring upon him the misfortune of being killed." And Naaman continued to meditate as to the stumbling block he might plan for him. And after a while, Naaman turned it over in his mind and wrote a letter to Achish, son of Shaph, the wise king of Persia, saying this: "Peace and health and might and honor from Sennacherib, king of Assyria and Nineveh, and from his vizier and his secretary Ahikar, unto you, a great king. Let there be peace between you and me. And when this letter reaches you, if you will arise and go quickly to the plain of Mizraim, to Assyria and Nineveh, I will deliver up the kingdom to you without war and without battle array." And he wrote also another letter in the name of Ahikar to Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So this guy went and forged letters through the power of Ahikar. "Let there be peace between you and me, O mighty king. If at the time of this letter reaching you, you will arise and go to Assyria, Nineveh, and to the plain of Mizraim, and I will deliver up to you the kingdom without war, without fighting." And the writing of Nadab was like to be writing of his uncle Ahikar. And then he folded the two letters and sealed them with the seal of his uncle Ahikar. They were nevertheless in the king's palace. Then he went and wrote a letter likewise from the king to the uncle Ahikar, and peace and health to my vizier, my secretary, my counselor Ahikar. O Ahikar, when this letter reaches you, assemble all the soldiers who are with you, and let them be perfect and clothed in number, and bring them to me on the 5th day in the plain of Mizraim. And when you will see me there coming towards you, hurry and make the army move against me as an enemy who fought with me, for I have with me the ambassadors of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that they may see the strength of our army and may fear us, for they our enemy, and they hate us. Then he sealed the letter and sent it to Ahikar by one of the king's servants, and he took the other letter which he had written and spread it before the king and read it to him and showed him the seal. And when the king heard what was the letter, he was perplexed, confused with a great perplexity, and was angry with great fierce wrath, and said, Ah, I have shown my wisdom. What have I done to Ahikar that he has written these letters to my enemies? Is this my recompense, reward for him for all my goodness that I did to him? And Nathan said to him, Be not grieved, O king, nor be angry, but let us go to the plain of Nesrine and see if the tale be true or not. Then Nathan arose on the 5th day and took the king and the soldiers and the visitors, and they went to the desert to the plain of Nesrine. And the king looked, and lo, Hakar and the armies were set and ready. And when Hagar saw that the king was there, he approached and signaled to the army to move as in war and to fight array against the king, as it had been found in the letter, he not knowing what a pit Nathan had digged for him. And when the king saw the act of Achan, he was seized with perplexity and terror and confused and was angry and with a great anger. And Nathan said to him, Have you seen, O my lord the king, what this wretch has done? Be not you angry, and be not grieved nor pained, but go to your house and sit on your throne, and I will bring Hakar to you in chains and bound, and I will chase away thy enemy from you without work. And the king returned to his throne, being provoked about Achan, and did nothing concerning him. And Nathan went to Achan and said to him, Wa Allah, O my uncle, the king truly rejoices in you with great joy and thanks you for having done which he commanded you. And now he hath sent me to you that you may dismiss the soldiers to their duties, and come thyself to him with thy hands bound behind you and your feet chained, that the ambassadors of Pharaoh may see them, and that the king may be feared by them and by their king. Hakar answered and said, To hear is to obey. And he arose straightway and bound his hands behind him and chained his feet. And Nathan took him and went with him to the king. And when Hakar entered the king's presence, he did obedience before him on the ground and wished for power and perpetual life to the king. Then said the king, O Hakar, my secretary, the governor of my affairs, my counselor, the ruler of the state, tell me what evil I've done that you would have rewarded me by this ugly work. Then they showed him the letters in the writing with his seal. And when Hakar saw this, his limbs trembled, his tongue was tied at once, and he was unable to speak a word from fear, but he hung his head towards the earth and was dumb. And when the king saw that, he felt certain that the thing was from him, and he straightway arose and commanded to kill Hakar. All right, so he plotted for Hakar, his uncle, to be killed. They planned this, and to strike his neck with the sword outside of the city. The Nadab screamed and said, O Hakar, O black face, what avails you thy meditation or your power in the doing of this deed to the king? Now says the storyteller, in the name of the swordsman, Abu Samit, and the king said to him, O swordsman, arise, go cleave the neck of Hakar at the door of his house, and cast away his head from his body 100 cubits. Hakar knelt before the king and said, Let my lord the king live forever, and if you desire to kill me, let your wish be complete. And I know that I am not guilty, but the wicked man has to give an account of his wickedness. Nevertheless, O my lord the king, I beg you and of your friendship, permit the swordsman to give my body to my slaves that they may bury me, and let your slave be thy sacrifice. The king rose and commanded the swordsman to do with him according to his desire. And he straightway commanded the servants to take Ahikar the swordsman and go with him naked, that they may kill him. And when Ahikar knew for certain that he was to be killed, he sent his wife and said to her, "Come out and meet me, and let there you you 1,000 young virgins, and dress them in gowns of purple and silk, that they may weep for me before my death. And prepare a table for the swordman, for his servants, and mingle plenty of wine, that they may drink." And she did all that he commanded her, and she was very wise, clever, and smart, and she united all the possible courtesy and learning. And when the army of the king and the swordmen arrived, they found the table set in order, the wine and the luxuries, vineyards, and they began eating and drinking till they were bored and drunken. And Ahikar took the swordman aside from the company and said, "O Abu Samit, does you not know that when Sardon, the king, the father of Sennacherib, wanted to kill you, I took you and hid you in a certain place till the king's anger subsided, and he asked for you? And when I brought you into the presence, he laughed in you, and now remember the kindness I did to you." Ahikar said, "Remember the kindness that I did for you, and I know that the king will repent him about me, and will be angry with a great anger about my execution. For I am not guilty, and it shall be when you shall present me before him in his palace that you shall meet with great good fortune. And now that Nadin, my sister's son, has deceived me and has done this bad deed to me, that the king will repent of killing me. And now I have a cellar in the garden of my house, and no one knows it. Hide me in it with the knowledge of my wife, and I have a slave in prison who deserves to be killed. Bring him out and dress him in my clothes, and command the servants when they are drunk to kill him. They will not know who it is they are killing. That they may bury it, and you shall have laid up a great treasure with me." And when the swordsman did as Hakar had commanded him, and he went to the king and said to him, head, "May your head live forever." Then Hakar's wife let down to him the hiding place every week with food sufficed for him, and no one knew of it but herself. And the story was reported and repeated and spread everywhere, in every place, on how Hakar the sage had been killed and was dead, and all people of the city cried for him. And they wept and said, "Alas for you, O Hakar, and for they and for your learning and your courtesy. How sad about you and about the knowledge. Where can another like you be found, Ahikar? And where can there be a man so intelligent, so learned, so skilled in ruling as to resemble you, that he may fill your place?" But the king was repenting about Hakar, and his repentance availed him nothing. Then he called Nadab and said to him, "Go and take your friends with you, and make a mourning and weeping for your uncle Hakar, and lament, cry for him on this way, and is doing in this doing honor to his memory." But when Nadab and the foolish and ignorant, hard-hearted went to the house of his uncle, he neither cried nor sorrowed nor wailed, but assembled heartless and dissolute people and about and eating. Set about eating and drinking. All right, so you could compare this account um, to Matthew 24 verses 48 to 51 and Luke 12 43 to 46. You will see the language of Ahikar has colored one of the Lord's parable stories. All right, or symbol. All right, and Nadab began to see the maidservants and the slaves that belonged to Hakar again, and bound them, chained them, and tortured them, and beat them, and sore beat them. And he did not respect the wife of his uncle, so he had brought him up like her own boy, but wanted her to fall into sin with him. He wanted Hakar's wife to have sex with him. All right. But Hakar had been cast into the hiding place, and he heard the weeping of his slaves and his neighbors. And he praised the Most High God, the merciful one, and gave thanks. And he always prayed and asked the Most High God. And the swordsman came from time to time to Ahikar while he was in the midst of the hiding place. And Ahikar came and asked him, and he comforted him and wished him deliverance. And when the story was reported that in other countries that Ahikar the sage had been killed, all the kings were grieved and hated King Shiknarib of Assyria, and they lamented over Ahikar, the solver of riddles. So chapter let's see, 4, it says the riddles of the Sphinx, what really happened to Ahikar and his return. So Ahikar made a return. All right. Mhm. And I'm gonna read that. I'll read a little bit. It says, um, let's see if I can. No, I can't break that in half. It says the letter of chapter 5. It says the letter of the riddles is shown to Ahikar, the boys on the eagle, the first airplane ride off to Egypt. Ahikar, being a man of wisdom, also has a sense of humor. The reuse succeeds. Ahikar answers every question of Pharaoh because he went to go to Egypt. He went to see Pharaoh. The boys and the eagles are the climax of the day. Okay, that's what happened in chapter 6. And I'm going to read the end of chapter 6. Genesis, get your phone. So, and Shitnarib in chapter 6, verse 47 says, and Shitnarib the king rejoiced with a great joy and said to Ahikar, take what you would fain have as the tribute, for it is all within the grasp of your hand. Ahikar said, let the king live forever. I desire nothing but the safety of my lord the king and the continuance of his greatness. O my lord, what can I do with the wealth and its light? But if you will show me favor, give me Nadab. So give me Nadab, my sister's son, that I may recompense him for what he has done to me, and grant me his blood, and hold me guiltless of it. And Shitnarib the king said, take him. I have given him to you. And Ahikar took Nadab, his sister's son, and bound his hands with chains of iron, and took him to his living, and put a heavy fetter on his feet, and tied it with a tight knot. And after binding him, then he cast him into a dark room beside the retiring place, and appointed the bull and his sentinel over him, and commanded him to give him a loaf of bread and a little water every day. All right, so he commanded him. So uh, obviously can see the story turned around, and Ahikar got released, and he got hold of his nephew, his stepchild, his son that he desired and wanted, right, from his sister. Right? So in chapter 7, it talks about the parables of Ahikar, in which he completes his nephew's education. Striking smiles, Ahikar calls the boy picturesque names. Here is the story of Ahikar. So we're going to finish that as well, because he hits him with all these wonderful and beautiful precepts, and it shows how these ungrateful kids or people that be around in your life, and you must watch out. It could be your son or your daughter, right? Um, so it says when Ahikar went in and out, he scolded Nadab, his sister's son, saying to him wisely, O Nadab, my boy, I have done to you all that is good and kind, and you have rewarded me for it with what is ugly and bad and with killing. All right, this is what he. This is what. Um, what's his name? Laden did to Ahikar. All right. So I'm gonna finish it up with a part two. I think this is really too long, but I hope this is blessing.